In answering the question of which of the songs represents me the most, I would say It's Gonna Get Better. Anyone who knows me knows that I have a genuine, heartfelt concern about humanity at large. And deep in myself, I have this belief that we can do better than we've done, that there's always better days ahead. You know, we just have to fill in the blanks and learn what's missing to move on to the next piece. And so often along that road, that means that we need encouragement. There's certainly situations and circumstances, things that can come up. You know, so the song It's Gonna Get Better is very much about that. It is a conversation of one person to another, you know, that starts off and say, hey, the word out is that you're not doing so well, but I'm here to let you know that whatever this is just for a season, it's just for a period of time, and it's going to get better. So, you know, it's about encouragement, and it really embraces a lot of what I'm about, not just in music, but in my life with my family, my life with my friends and my associates, is to be that encourager, is to be that coach, to say, you know, stick with it. It's going to get better. I think that there's a line that you have to be careful not to go beyond if you want the music to still be able to breathe, right? Because it can't be so perfect. I went back and listened to the first project that I put out, and while some of the kind of little flubs here and there musically, you know, some of them kind of make you cringe a little bit, but there's a human element to it. Like, we're not perfect in all things that we do. You know, not every run up the keyboard and down the keyboard is going to be great. Not every, you know, roll around the drum set is going to be, you know, or every, you know, lick on the bass or guitar is going to be perfect. That's the human part of it. And I think that that's the piece that music is missing. You know, everything is so click-based and so quantized-based and so dead on that it's almost robotic. It's stale. Digital has that challenge on its own. So there have been some things that have happened in the studio and others that have been just slightly less than perfect, but everything else about it is so great. Why are you going to mess with that to try to make it perfect and rob it of the humanity? And that's the place where it connects with other people who could never step behind a microphone and sing. They would never be behind an instrument and record something that would be heard by a lot of people. I think the less than perfect elements of music is what connects them to it. You know, it makes it more real for them. And that's the challenge in this day and age, where everything is 4 bars and 8 bars and click, 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 clicks, just so locked and perfect. That's the challenge in making real music today. If it's anything, I believe I miss just playing with other musicians, that when you sort of share the same musical language and it's that nonverbal communication, you know, it's a synergy there that can't be scripted. There's an energy there that can't be faked. If there's anything that I miss about being in some of those environments, and, you know, back when I had the sort of contemporary jazz band, was just that. And we would actually challenge ourselves because at that time, the band IRO, what we were doing was we were going into church environments, doing really, again, contemporary fusion types of compositions that I did in church environments when that sort of thing wasn't that popular. And we really wanted to have a high level of integrity doing it. And so, like, those song titles, you know, meant a lot to us. And so when we rehearsed, we would sit and talk about, what does this really mean? What are we saying? You know, so you don't get caught up in the runs and the breaks and the vamps and all the other stuff that sort of the ear candy that people get drawn to. But it was important to make sure we had integrity. So we discussed those things and challenged ourselves to deliver the message in the music with no words. Like, would people get it if we didn't tell them what it was? And that was a really great period musically for me. And we would go to some places, and then, you know, I remember people walking up to me afterwards with tears in their eyes because they got it. You know, they understood it. We didn't have to tell them. And, you know, maybe this is the old fogey part of me, but I think that's maybe now what I think is missing it is just so much about the technical, so much about the run, so much about the oohs and ahs, that just the beauty and the purity of a note and what a note is saying is not there. And the combinations of notes and where are you moving, and are you drawing people, are you pushing them? Do you want them to go faster or slower? What are they thinking about? That's the challenge of musicianship. And so for an individual to be able to do that is phenomenal. For a group of people to do that is just, frankly, that's amazing. So unless someone's been through this process, I don't know that they can truly appreciate how difficult it can be to bring a project together, certainly to do something that is, commercial ready and prepared to travel. And, I would never go out of the way to pat myself on the back for my abilities. Certainly people who are part of my circle that, without them, me personally, I can't do it. Maybe Prince can, he don't need anybody, just go in and do it all. But love you, Prince. But, when I think of, people who are close to me, I think of people that I would want to thank. And Rashid Coleman is one of those people for me. He and I have a number of conversations just about the technical aspects of music and what we're doing in our studios and how we're going to get that sound that we're looking for. And it's a ton of other conversation that's really valuable. And then Dr. Guthrie Ramsey, who I had the privilege of co-producing his last project called The Colored Waiting Room. And we met through golf and just realized that we spoke the same we spoke the same language musically. And that friendship has blossomed, but he's really one of the people that I rely on just to make sure that the music still has the integrity. And given who he is and his influence and his experience, that if he nods his head and says that it's good, then it's good. And if he says maybe you should reconsider something, then that means it's worth it. So having him in my corner is absolutely invaluable. And then, certainly Mylan Fuss Jones and Reggie Reg Designs, which is, aside from what we do technically together and all that wonderful stuff, and with recording and the videos and helping with websites and photographs. I mean, these guys are amazingly talented. It's just the friendship and the encouragement that it takes just to get it going, to keep it going, and then bring it to its conclusion, bring it to an end. So a lot of the public-facing components of this just wouldn't even happen if those guys weren't there. But again, just in the backdrop, being able to ask questions and get advice and opinions and stuff is really critical. Yeah, so it's good to have people like that on your team, in your corner, who will go to bat for you, who will lend their time and their resources to what you're doing. And then, for my family, my wife Dion, Brooklyn, Natalia, in this modern age, we have home studios. I'm privileged to have one probably a little bit bigger and outfitted than I had in many years past. But that means if there's a project that's going on, no matter who it is, how good it is, how bad it is, they've heard those songs hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And, when you're working in that environment, it changes kind of the rhythm of the household. And, so I would be remiss without thanking them for, their ongoing support, of course, but just their patience and their forbearance. With the first take through the 50th take or the 100th take, with the vocals that crack and, the mixes that haven't come together. So I appreciate them, love them for what they do and them being an important part of what JatWorld is all about.
So on this first volume of the JatWorld